Hey everyone, Arief here. Last week, Sam and I sat down with a couple game developers here in Southeast Asia at Level Up KL 2025 to answer a question we've had on our minds lately. What is the state of the Southeast Asian independent games ecosystem? In the past year, we've seen games like Acts of Blood from Indonesia get featured at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. Sam, Nissi, and myself also put on one of the biggest international showcases dedicated to devs from the region at the Southeast Asian Games Showcase SGF Edition. We're also seeing events like the Southeast Asian Game Awards go strong and level up, as well as more and more industry players coming to the conference circuit, such as IGDX in Bali and the newly merged Gamescom Asia and Thailand Game Show. With all these developments, it begs the question, what are developers in Southeast Asia building now? How do they see the landscape in today's era? And what have they learned from industry peers to push their games forward as this industry matures? We chatted with a couple nominees of the Southeast Asian Game Awards here at Level Up KL.
My name is Wan Hasmir. I'm the co-founder, CEO, and game director of Metronomik.
I'm Sean from BattleBrew Productions.
My name is Swan. I am the co-founder of CtrlD Studio.
A shout out to MDEC and the Level Up KL crew for having us. Without further ado, welcome back to the 20M podcast.
My name is Swan. I am the co-founder of CtrlD Studio. We are an independent game developer based in Kuching, Sarawak. Not a lot of people know about game developers in the east side of Malaysia. But yeah, we have been running for about 6 years now, and we are developing our first commercial title called Overhours. Overhours is an action tower defense game set in a fictional agency where you fight monsters in your overtime. Yeah, I would say the state of Southeast Asian indie games is that it's really rapidly growing. That's what I feel. Like each country in the Southeast Asian region is just rapidly pushing out games. We're seeing so many like indie studios coming up, and just there's so much range now. So I think Southeast Asia will just keep getting, like the scene in Southeast Asia is just going to get bigger and bigger. Yeah. As Southeast Asians with a scene that's still growing, we need a lot of stuff. I think most people will say funding. There's never too much funding realistically. But I think we need more people who are more unapologetic and very, willing to showcase their games at a global level. Because I think at least at this point, like a lot of people are making games and like, if I reach my own country's audience or a Southeast Asian audience, like then I'm happy. But I think when we hit like global markets, if we look at North America side, Europe side, that brings in a lot of money. And then with more money, we can make more games. So yeah, I think we need to be more open and confident to show our games to the world. Yeah, I am speaking from experience, but fail fast and fail forward. I think we're all trying to build our own titles. We're all trying to build our own IP. And the best way to get to an IP that makes money and is globally loved is by making more smaller games. Because I started from like B2B projects, where I got a bit of my experience, but at least I think for newer developers, we need to keep making small projects and keep failing so that we can have more success.
So I'm Sean from BattleBrew Productions. We've made a whole bunch of silly games, including Cuisineer, Love in Tiny Spaces, and we're currently working on something called Hell Heartbreaker. Some people have described it as Scott Pilgrim meets Hades. They might be right, because it's an action roguelite with a dating sim. So the girls that you date give you powers, and the girls that you don't are the bosses you fight. It's Asian inspired. It takes place in an Asian underworld, and the girls are all monster girls. They're all Asian mythology. You've got Oni, Kitsune, Yaksha, Asura, Aswang, Naga, and I think I'm missing something somewhere. Garuda, right? I think it's actually flourishing across the board. There's a lot more indie devs every year. But I do think some of the other studios, like if you're looking for larger amounts of funding, it can be a bit tougher this year. So yeah, kind of mixed, but I think it's actually still pretty healthy. Lots of new games every year. Okay. Wow, interesting. I think for me, I've been told go make some sequels this year. It's a bit of a tougher year funding wise. I didn't listen to that advice, obviously, and went on to create new games. I think that's both good and bad. I'm not sure if it's bad, but I think people are definitely interested in new IPs as well, but it can be a bit tougher to find funding this year. It's definitely out there. I think people are also looking for smaller games, maybe. So hang in there, chug along, make cool stuff. It's actually same old, man. Indie life is still kind of challenging. Nothing new there, but it's wondrous as well. So just fight the good fight. It's more an internal lesson. I think everybody will give you conflicting advice business-wise every single year. It'll be a tough year, it'll be a great year, but I think, and especially for indie dev, right? So if you make something that makes your heart happy, I think the players can tell that. It comes through. There's a term in Japanese, kodawari, right? So that's more like how much care you care about your work, like craftsmanship, right? And I think audience can tell that. So honestly, it may be naive advice and maybe bad advice I'm giving, but I honestly think when we made stuff that was very close to our hearts, people can tell, and the game sold well. I wish I had better advice, but that's what it is.
3 years ago, our band battled some of the greatest artists here.
And we're gonna battle more!
We are.
Of course! This time, we're taking it to the road!
Okay, my name is Wan Hazmir. I'm the co-founder, CEO, and game director of Metronomik. We are currently working on Mercenaries 2 and another game. We at Metronomik, we work only on original IPs that Malaysia can be proud of. And I am from KL, where I'm born in Pantai Medital, nearby.
Yeah, so you're obviously a long-time veteran of the Southeast Asia game space. So what are your thoughts right now? Like, what is the state of indie game in Southeast Asia, in your opinion?
Wow, the state of indie games in Southeast Asia is really awesome now. You know, I mean, last time when I left Malaysia and then I worked in Square Enix at the time, Malaysia was mostly about, outsourcing. In fact, Southeast Asia in general as well, right? It was mostly about outsourcing for other companies in Japan, America, and Europe, but now you can see a lot more original titles with interesting cultures as well. One of my favorite games, when the past was around, Space for the Unbound as well. And we even have a lot of variety like Rhythm Doctor, rhythm games as well. So, Southeast Asia is suddenly becoming this hub for a lot more original indie games that you don't really see often back in the 2010 era. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. We were all level up. We saw how many exciting indies are there. I'm here exhibiting. But I guess, like, as someone who's from the scene, who's seen it grow all this time, what do you think Southeast Asia needs more of, for it to keep growing?
Right. I think Southeast Asian companies need to embrace what makes them unique. I think when we try to replicate other successes, they come with their own circumstances, right? For example, they might be the first ones to make a battle royale. For example, if you try to replicate that, the problem is we're just going to create a copy of it, and it might not be as successful because you don't want the same path, But when you try to embrace something that's more unique to you, and I see some indies developers who do this, right? Especially for us, I think one of our biggest arsenal is culture, for sure. Because if we try to join the technology race and whatsoever, I think we are going to lose out because a lot of the other countries have had a bigger jumpstart, right? So yeah, I think embracing what makes us unique, and I think a lot of Southeast Asian sometimes we are not proud of our uniqueness, right? Because they think that it's low quality compared to all the anime and all the Western TV series that they are watching. So yeah, I would love everyone to embrace their culture and to put it in the game. And to gamify culture is not easy as well. So it is a challenge, but it's worth the challenge, I think.
Yeah. 100%. And the games that you've put out, no shade Rose, everyone can see like you wear culture on your sleeve and you somehow make it palatable, even if they never been to Malaysia. Obviously a lot of your players overseas, just totally get it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're obviously very connected in the scene. You know many other Southeast Asian developers, and I'm sure you talk to them quite often. Has any of them given you any tips that you're like, oh yeah, yep, that's some good advice,
I mean, I always try my best to get as much advice as possible for everyone, but I think the one that really shouts to me is Sean Beck telling me to relax. So I think, yeah, sometimes when we make games, sometimes we forget to relax. So I think you relax. Yeah, I don't know why Sean Beck's advice just keeps on resonating with me.
Do you have any parting notes for us? Anything you want to tell kind of like the audience or any TYNS on?
Yeah, I think, I always keep on talking about culture, so let's dive in from that a bit. I think this also related to culture, but it's also related to a lot of things. Is I think we developers need to experience life more, enjoy life more. Recently I had a 2-week rest, and overseas in Europe, and it's just that when you take a step back from development, there are a lot of things that you realize. Not maybe it's a workaholic type of problem, but you step back and you still see work in you get inspired by the buildings, the culture around you. So sometimes enjoying life, you can make a better game. When you enjoy life, yeah. So, and in Metronomik, we try our best to make them enjoy their life as well, wherever possible. We encourage them to take rest, take care of their mental health as well, and all that. So, yeah, I think enjoying life is one of the most important things. To be honest, yeah, just to let you know, so that my cousin passed away around 2 months ago. Yeah, and his name is Magazai. He was the video editor here. And because he didn't go for a health checkup, and suddenly just a heart disease just ended it. When he was in his peak when it comes to enjoying life and all that. So yeah, that kind of made me realize how important it is to enjoy life. Games is not everything. I know for a lot of developers, games is everything, which is okay, but at the same time also, if you enjoy life, you might make a better game. So it actually goes back and forth. So yeah,